Thank you for joining us. Before we get started on today's episode, just a quick reminder to please smash the like button in the bottom right corner and subscribe to Locked On Senators so you can be the first to know when new content arrives. The best way to help us grow is to comment on the video as well. So let us know if this is a player you want the Sens to draft or you think they should stay away from, and let us know why as well. This is one of 64 draft profiles that we're producing, so let's get into it. All right. Coming in at number 22 on our Locked On Senators draft rankings, we are going to Slovensko, Slovakian Pro League, Filip Mesar, a right-wing, shifty, dynamic forward.
Yeah, for Filip Mesar, definitely shifty is one word you can use for him. And Ross, what I found most about him is this is a guy that excels with the puck on his stick. And we'll get into that later on. Let's get into a general view of Mesar. Like you mentioned, he played in the pro leagues in Slovakia. He's actually played 2 full seasons in the pro league. So that's a big jump on a lot of these other prospects. And there you see, if you're watching on YouTube, the graphics is up. In 37 games, he had 8 goals, 8 assists, good for 16 points. He's 5'10", 174 pounds, a right winger, and the range, Ross, finally on these prospects is starting to tighten up. We don't really have any crazy outliers here.
Well, Tony might be a little high on him, but other than that,
yeah, it's all very like he's going to go somewhere mid to late first round, and then Tony's high on him at 10, and then Craig Button is a little lower on him at 37. So you've got a range of 27, which may sound like a lot, but compared to most of the other guys we've looked at, Ross, like some of them were absolutely insane. So this is a little more consensus of where he's going to go.
he's a 5'10" right shot, right wing, 174 pounds. He did pretty well at the testing as well at the combine. And just to go through the rankings first, Tony Ferrari, as I mentioned, has him at 10, which is, if we're taking off the Olympic scores of 10 and 37, now we've really tightened up here because Craig Button has him at 37. So if we take off those two, then we've got Wheeler at 21, Bob McKenzie at 22, Chris Peters at 22, and Elite Prospects at 27. So you can see it really tightens up. Corey Prodman at 32, so at the tail end of the first round. But this is a guy, to me, a little more boomer bust, where he's either going to establish himself as a contributing middle six winger who can play on the power play, and he actually has a pretty good defensive awareness game as well, really good in transition. So if there's a loose puck in the D zone, not only is he likely to strip that off the player's stick, but he's also more than likely going to be able to fly out of the zone with it and create an offensive zone entry all by himself. And the fact he was doing that in a pro league at the age of 17, I think speaks pretty highly of what he's capable of at the next level. Love these jerseys too, the little goats on it as well. Playing for HK Poprad in the Slovak league. So I'm excited to see. It's a little tough again when you're looking at a player who's playing in a league that's not always known as having the best talent. Not that it's awful, but I do think that it is something to be wary of, where it's like, okay, what's he going to do at the next level? Like we always mention Corey Prodman's player comparables that he has. And this one's interesting. I mean, I don't know how many people even remember this name from when he was in Toronto, but Alexander Barabanov has found a home in San Jose. Just like a smaller player who's dynamic, but never really wows you. Like he's dynamic in his own way, but not the way that the casual fan will be jumping out of their seat for. So I'm just curious if the offense is going to translate. And then Pilsy, as you know, I like to say, what's the B game? When the A game, when he's not dancing out of his own zone with the puck, when he's not getting his teammates involved in zone entry situations, where's the B game going to come for Filip Mesar?
Yeah, and that's where it's going to be interesting. And it's interesting that you mentioned him as a winger because in watching Scouching's video on YouTube, go check it out. Will Scouch is great stuff. He mentioned that he mostly played center in Slovakia. Yeah, and it's not like those other leagues where we're looking at SHL first round NHL talent playing 10 minutes a night and on the fourth line, no power play. I looked at his game logs, Ross. He was averaging between 50 and 20 minutes a night. And sure, the Slovakian league definitely down there in the ranks of competition level. But the thing you got to remember is he's playing up against men here. So he's playing up against guys that are bigger, stronger, more experienced. And this is their job. Like, this is what they do. It's not just something that they're aspiring to do. These are pro hockey players. So yeah, the competition's down, but the compete level is right up there.
These
And
guys got to feed their families pills.
yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. I know it sounds funny, but that's where it's at. Like, these guys they're
For
hungry.
sure.
They're
No,
hungry to play.
100%. And well, Scott Wheeler, not to cut you off, but Scott Wheeler mentions that the Kitchener Rangers have his CHL rights.
Yeah.
It would make sense for him to make the move next year, don't you think?
Absolutely. Like, what's the point of playing 3 pro seasons in Slovakia if you're planning on coming and playing pro in North America, right? So I think he would do that. And now he's at an age where it's probably a little more comfortable. And with COVID kind of settling down a little, it's not as intense moving from one continent to another and being away from your family and stuff like that. One thing to note too, Ross, though, which might have skewed his rankings a little, he hasn't played a single game since April 2nd.
Yeah.
That's a long time. And most of these other prospects are either lighting it up in the playoffs, have already finished championship runs, stuff like that.
Almost like the next guy on our list who dominated the under 18s.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So he's kind of been stagnant here. And maybe you're looking at the numbers saying he played in the Slovak league and he only had 8 goals in 37 games, 16 points. That doesn't really pop out to me. But the key thing to look at is he dominated in his own age groups. Like, before he went pro, he was putting up big numbers in short seasons, like only like 30 games. And I guess we can review this again when we pull up EP graphic further down the road here. But like I mentioned, let's get into what he does well here. Mesar, he's so good at keeping possession of the puck. He cycles it with his line mates. Like, when they have the puck, it's like, okay, now we're on. Like, now let's punch into my shift. I'm getting to work. And Will Scouch applauds how he uses his body position and he pivots to protect the puck. Like, for a smaller guy, he was able just to, if bigger guys wanted to kind of impose their strength on him, he would just turn his body. So, like, okay, now you got to deal with my backside. Try getting around me to try to get that puck. I'm going to pivot quickly so you don't have that good body positioning to just strip it off me or out muscle me. But where I kind of found he got into some trouble is, for a smaller guy, he doesn't have a lot of top speed. So he's not just going to blow by big defenders on the wing just at a pace of saying, I'm faster than you, try to catch me. He's not able to do that. He is a good skater in 4-way mobility, so he's going to be a little shifty getting around guys, but the top speed, you would like to be a little bit more for a smaller guy. And then one thing is, once he's amazing at transition game and moving the puck up ice. But then when he's in the O zone, this is where you talk about his B game, Ross. His A game is getting the puck into the O zone. A B game, what are you going to do when you're there? It's like a dog chasing cars, right? Or Joker with the Batman. Like, once Joker catches the Batman, he's like, well, what do I do now? Like, that's all I know.
My dog chasing squirrels. Like, what are you going to do, buddy?
Yeah. What are you going to do with that squirrel? What do you got planned? And I find with Mesar, that's part of the problem here is he gets into the O zone so often, and then he's just like, well, I'll just keep cycling the puck here. I'll just keep moving it. And then when my shift's getting close to an end, I'll just fire a low percentage shot on net and go off for a change. And that's fine because you're moving the needle. Your team's possessing the puck. You know, it's the old saying, sometimes offense is the best defense. But when you can't finish those plays, it becomes frustrating for coaches, and you're not going to get those high leverage, high importance situations if you can't finish your plays.
I'll spin zone this, though. How about the fact that he's playing on the Olympic size ice in Slovakia? Maybe that if he does come over to Kitchener, playing in the old auditorium up there in Kitchener,
It's a good rink.
You're not able to hide. There's nowhere to hide. So that might be the make or break. And I mean, he's not going to play there before an NHL team has to use a first round pick on him, because in all likelihood, as you saw from everyone's rankings, he will be a first round pick. But hopefully good coaching over there will teach him. And again, this is if he goes. We're not confirming or anything that he will make the jump to the OHL. But I think that would be a fantastic way to teach him, hey, you got to take the middle lanes. You have to be a little less of a perimeter player once you get to the offensive zone. We know you're good on the cycles, so just use it. Like, I think that'll be a huge help for him in his development.
Teaching him, Bob McKenzie's son.
Go.
I'm pretty sure he's still head coach of the Kitchener Rangers. So
I think so too. And I mean, they've always run a great program. Like, I'd show him some power forwards in the NHL. Even his old buddy. There's a super cool photo I'll pull up from Mesar's Instagram where it's him, Simon Nemec, and Yuri Slavkovsky, all when they are, I don't know, 10 years old at best. So that's super cool. And here, I'll pull this up right now, actually, because they then showed them all at the World Juniors this year. Unfortunately, it got canceled pretty quickly, but they've been playing together since they were like 10 years old. Like,
That's
isn't that
awesome.
super cool? Mesar is, as you can imagine with his size now, he is the one on
On the
the
right?
right
Yes.
side there.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, and no surprise that's Uri Slavkovsky in the middle, now standing 6'4". So,
Yep.
I mean, the old days are gone. Now it's reality. I have a feeling that is auto translated. That to say, though, I've always got a soft spot for the Slovaks. My best buddy Slovak. So I'm gonna probably pump his stars up a little bit. But before we do that, Pilsy, are you confident that he's going to be an NHL regular, or is he a quadruple A player, as we use the baseball reference, where you're too good for the AHL, you're an all-star there, but the skills don't translate exactly to the NHL level?
I think it's going to be very important for him to come over and start playing North American style hockey on the smaller rinks. So moving to Kitchener would make a lot of sense, that's for sure. And like we already mentioned, great program there. And I think he has the skills to at least have a base to work in the pro league, because carrying the puck up the ice, especially if he's going to stay as a centerman, is a massive skill. But can he improve on that? Can he get that top speed? Can he get a better shot, or at least get himself in better position to take better shots? That's where I'm not quite sure. And Ross, the one thing I thought was kind of interesting about Mesar here is, and maybe you can help me out here, I didn't see any reports or talks about how he plays defensively. Did you?
Just that he uses his speed well, and he's able to
Okay.
pinch off. That he's able to pinch off attackers at the wall, and more so, his defense is all in transition.
Yeah.
When there's a loose puck available, he's on it and he can play D well. He's not a guy who's going to be overly physical and stop the cycle down low or anything like that. He's just your winger that'll probably stay high, try to cover the point, and then hope for a loose puck that he can pounce on. Like, everything in his game is built around his speed and his pace, and I think that those are two very high qualities to have in a offensive minded winger, a guy who can break the puck out quick and turn defense into offense on a dime. So I think that you mentioned the best defense is a good offense sometimes. So I think that that's probably what I'd say to
Yeah,
that. But
fair.
he to me is like he's B plus at a lot of things. So I think that it's going to translate. So I will be a little higher. He's January 3rd birthday, 2004. You mentioned small, and they do have him as a center listed, winger / center here on Elite Prospects, but NHL Central Scouting, Scott Wheeler, Corey Pronman, Elite Prospects, and the NHL Scouting Combine, which I believe would be Central Scouting as well, all have him listed as a right winger. I think
Okay.
that's where we ultimately see him play at the next level. And as you can see, like, growing up, he was able to produce. He even had a couple goals, a couple assists in 15 playoff games as a 16-year-old in the pro league
Yeah,
in
impressive.
Slovakia. So it's super impressive. And that shows me that the lack of size won't be an issue, because he's able to battle through even at that young of an
And
age
then look
when
at the
he's even,
numbers up against his own peer group, right? Like that's
yeah,
what I was
huge.
referencing.
Huge. 49 points in 41 games, 47 in 47, 41 in 33, and then he made the jump. Even like internationally, even as recent as this year in U18 event, 12 points in 7 games. It's unfortunate that the World Juniors were cut short, because that Slovak team, super, super fun. We are entering the golden age here, and we had a golden age of Slovak hockey. Your Gabricks, your Hoses, your Zedniks, your Palfis, your Charas, your Mazaroses, to get a little Sens content in there. But to say that the next wave is here would be an understatement. With Nemec, with Mesar, with Slavkovsky,
Yeah.
you've got Adam Sikora's kind of a diamond in the rough type guy in this draft as well. And of course, Simon Nemec, the defenseman, as well. And then next year, there's top 10 pick coming as well, Dalibor Dvorsky. So keep your ear out for that. How many stars do you have today for Mesar?
So I appreciate his skill in transition, but like I said, I just don't know if he's gonna find a way to finish the job once he gets into the zone. I feel like for him to be successful, he's gonna have to play with 2 good shooters on his line. Like he's gonna need multiple options to get the puck to someone who can finish the play. And I just feel like we talked about with the rankings, I feel like he's gonna go somewhere between 10 and 20. I don't see a scenario where the Sens are going to have a chance for him, and he's not a guy I would trade up or down for. I just for me, it's not a fit with the Sens, and that's what I use for these stars. So I'm going 2.5 stars for Filip Mesar. I just if they're gonna find someone in that range to trade up or trade down for, there's other guys I'd be banging on the table for other than him.
Yeah, that's fair. I've got him at 3.5 stars. I just think that if he can come here and light up the comparison that I'm going to make, and maybe a little less dynamic, but Fabian Lysell from last year, I think that you saw him play at an SHL level, wasn't really producing. Then he came over here and just wowed once he got to Vancouver and playing in the WHL. So I've got 3.5 stars for Filip Mesar.